In 1917, during the First World War, when France attacked German soldiers early in the morning, many German soldiers were killed here, due to which, there were dead bodies lying all around. German soldiers again attacked the French soldiers, but they all got hit by a machine gun, due to which, many German soldiers were killed here too. Now the remaining German soldiers continue the fight. In the next scene, some German soldiers remove a pile of bodies, and then they take off the clothes of those dead soldiers. Actually, after collecting these clothes, they send them to be washed, where after cleaning the clothes, they are dried and then a new batch is put on them and given to new soldiers. Next, we see young Pole, who rides his bicycle to school. Here he meets some of his friends, who were going to become soldiers and take part in the war going on in their country. Pole also wanted to go into battle with his friends, but his family doesn't allow him to do so. But Pole wants to go to war with his friends anyway, so he fakes his father's signature on his permit. After this in school, General Commander gives some patriotic speech to young children, after listening to which, they feel very proud of themselves and they are very excited to go to war. In the same week, all the youth were called together, and they were given their uniform. Paul was also very happy to get his uniform, but he gets a batch in the name of someone else's soldier on his uniform, so he tells his senior about it. After hearing which, the senior takes out the batch and says that the uniform of this soldier became small. Paul goes from here with its uniform. Here we see many tags under the table, on which the names of those soldiers, who were killed in the war. Now new soldiers admitted to the army are sent to Western Front, because the war was happening on the same. After some time, all the soldiers come in the northern direction of the France, from where Western Front was only 10 kilometers away. Here a doctor stops all the trucks coming from the city, because he had to send many injured soldiers to the city hospital, which means that now all new soldiers will have to walk ahead from here. All the soldiers start going towards Western Front on foot, but as soon as they come away, France fighter planes bomb them, but no soldier gets hurt in this attack. Captain Kokinski quickly asks all soldiers to wear their own masks, because there is poisonous gas inside those bombs, which can kill all of them. Although, there was no poisonous gas in these bombs, Pole is not able to wear masks himself in the process of helping his friend, which Kokinski is very angry at him, and orders him not to unload the mask. After this, all the soldiers move from here, and after some time, they all reach Western Front. This place was raining very fast, and at the same time, enemy soldiers were continuously bombing here. Kokinski removes Paul's mask, and order it to take out the water collected in the trenches along with the rest of the soldiers. Pole comes to his colleagues, and they start throwing water out of their helmets, but due to the very cold rain water, their hands start to numb. They talk to each other and say, that we never thought that the place of war would be so dangerous. At night, the rain had stopped and the enemies were also silent at this time. Pole was monitoring enemies with one of his companions. Both were wondering how they will first kill the French. They do not see any enemy in front of them, but then a bullet hits the helmet of Pole, and he falls down. The soldiers present in the trenches here could understand something. Before that, enemies start bombing here, due to which soldiers start hiding in trenches. Paul and his friends are very scared to see this scene, and they somehow want to go back to their home from this place. Here a soldier does not listen to Kokinski, and starts leaving from here, but as soon as he comes out of the trench, a bomb falls on it, and he is killed. The bombing was getting very fast here, due to which, their shelters start sinking into the ground. In the morning, some soldiers take Pole out from under the wood. He is very frightened by the scene of last night. Here Kokinski gives Paul a bag, so that he can collect the tags of the soldiers killed in the war, so that it can be known how many people have died in the war and what are their names. Pole was removing the tags of dead soldiers from their clothes, but then he finds a pair of glasses in the mud, which belonged to one of his friends. Now he does not understand anything. And when he comes forward, he sees his friend's body. He is very sad due to his friend's death, and cries a lot, but this was not the time to cry, because Kokinski yells at him. Pole goes back to collecting the tags. After some time, a soldier brings all the tags to headquarters, where they are counted and a list is made. After this, that list is sent to Officer Erzberger. After reading the files, Erzberger realized that if this war continues like this, then even more German soldiers will be killed, due to which, his country will suffer a lot. Actually, Erzberger wants to stop this war, and he comes to his superiors to talk about the same. On the other hand, Pole is sent with Kokinski to the base, which was some distance from the Western Front. After reaching the base, Kokinski brings Paul with him to a farmer's house. Here he asks Paul to wait outside and he goes inside himself. Actually, Kokinski came here to steal a goose. He takes the goose and runs away from here with Pole. The owner shoots at them from behind, but both of them run away from here. Arriving at the base, they cook the goose and enjoy a nice meal. Here they see some French girls, seeing whom a soldier Josh runs to them. He befriends them and then goes away with them. Seeing this, makes all the soldiers a little sad, because they miss their families. One day, the postman brings letters from all the soldiers. Kokinski did not know how to read, so he brings his letter to Pole. When Pole reads the letter, he learns that Kokinski had a 5-year-old son. but he died last night. Kokinski is deeply saddened by his son's death, and does not know what to do next. At night, Josh returns to his camp, he bringing with him a girl's scarf, which Pol is very happy to see. Morning comes, and Kokinski leaves for a mission with some of his soldiers. In the mission, he has to find 60 new soldiers who were supposed to come to the base 2 days ago, but they have not reached the base yet. After searching for a long time, they reach a warehouse, inside which they find the dead bodies of all their lost soldiers. Actually, French soldiers had attacked them with poisonous gas, and German soldiers took off their masks prematurely, due to which all of them died. Seeing the dead bodies of so many soldiers together, Pol and Kokinski are very shocked. On the other hand, a soldier tells the commander that France is preparing a major attack, hearing which, the commander says that Germany is also ready to fight this war till the end. Meanwhile, we see Erzberger, who is traveling by train. He's been practicing a speech in the compartment. At night, Kokinski wakes up all the soldiers sleeping in the camp, and takes them to the Western Front. All the soldiers move forward in a line, and then after some time, they all come to the same place, where they came for the first time. On the other hand, German officers and French officers are called in a meeting. Erzberger wants to stop the ongoing war between the two countries, because the Germans are suffering a lot in the war. Erzberger says that Germany is ready to accept all the conditions of France. However, France did not want to stop the war, so it gave a letter to Erzberger, in which the terms of the armistice were set. France says that Germany will have to accept their conditions without any discussion, and the war will continue until they accept their conditions. But if Erzberger wants to stop this war, he can sign these documents right now. On the other hand, all the German soldiers move rapidly towards the French trenches. There is bombing and firing from both sides, in which soldiers of both the countries were being killed. German soldiers come near the French trenches in no time, and they start destroying the French trenches one by one. Pol and Kokinski come to a place where there is a lot of food lying around. They quickly start eating the food lying on the table. While eating, they feel that the place is shaking rapidly, so they all quickly leave from here. They see many French tanks outside, so they open fire on them indiscriminately, but these bullets have no effect on the tanks. But when French soldiers fire their tanks, many German soldiers are killed. The number of tanks was increasing, so German soldiers started running back towards their trenches to save their lives. The French soldiers had many flamethrowers, with the help of which they were burning to death all the German soldiers present in their trenches. Kokinski tells all his soldiers to move back into the German trenches. Pol runs back, but there is a detonator next to him, and he falls away. He wakes up and looks at this dangerous scene with frightened eyes. Here French soldiers capture a German soldier. The German soldier surrenders himself, but despite that, the French soldiers burn him to death. Seeing all these things, Pol seemed to have become numb, but Kokinski comes to him and takes him away from here. Now the German soldiers had returned to their trenches, but the French attack was so big that the German soldiers left their own trenches and started running away. French fighter planes had also arrived here this time, and they started bombing all around. While running away, Pol falls into a pit, where a French soldier was about to kill him, but suddenly a bomb falls next to him, due to which, the soldier also falls into the same pit. Seeing this, Pol quickly goes to him, and stabs him several times in the chest with a knife. The French soldier does not die, rather he starts writhing in front of him. Seeing this, Pol takes pity on him, so he comes to him and tries to save him, but due to excessive bleeding, the French soldier dies. Here Pol finds a photo of that soldier's wife and daughter, seeing which, he becomes very emotional. He does not understand anything, so he apologizes to that soldier. After that he leaves from here. Now it was night. Pol was the only one left alive in the battlefield. He moves ahead alone and comes to his camp. Here all the soldiers had come to know that Germany was surrendering to the French, due to which this war was about to end. Pol comes across his friend Jaden, who was injured during the bombing, and his legs were cut into 2 pieces. Jaden does not want to have his leg amputated, because he does not like life as a cripple. He gives Pol the girl's scarf and tells him that Josh was killed in the battle. Pol is very sad to hear this, because all his friends were killed one by one in the war. After this, Pol meets Kokinski. They both bring food to Jaden. Pol gives him a fork and spoon to eat, but Jaden takes advantage of this opportunity, and he makes several holes in his neck with a fork. Seeing this, Pol stops him and calls the doctors, but Jaden dies in his arms. Actually, Jaden did not want to become a burden on anyone due to his disability, so he killed himself. Meanwhile, Erzberger obtains the signatures of all the superiors of the German delegation on the armistice documents, and 6 hours from now, at 11 o'clock in the morning, the war between the two countries will be stopped. But the German general is not happy with this decision, so he orders all the soldiers to gather at one place in the morning. In the morning, Kokinski finds that there is silence everywhere. There is no movement of any kind, so both of them decide to steal the goose again today. Both of them come to the same farmer's house, from where they had stolen the goose for the first time. But this time Pol goes inside. Before he can steal the goose, the farmer's son sees him and he locks Pol in the room. and goes to call his father. Pole fails to steal the goose, so he takes some of the goose's eggs and runs away. The farmer shoots at them, but somehow both of them manage to escape. Both of them stop at one place, and then break those eggs and drink it. Kokinski goes to the forest to urinate, where he sees the son of the farmer in front of him, who stood with a gun. On the other hand, Pole was sitting alone and thinking something. When he hears the sound of a gunshot, Kokinski alive comes out, but there was a bullet in his stomach. Pole picks him up and takes it towards the camp, so that the doctor could treat him, but the camp was far from here. He asks for help from the soldiers going on the way, but no one stops for help. By evening, Paul reaches the camp with Kokinski, but when the doctor examined him, he came to know that he was dead. Paul tried hard to save Kokinski, but he could not save him. On the other hand, the general collects all German soldiers. The general was not happy with the ceasefire, so he asks all the soldiers to attack French from back, but some soldiers say that now the war is going to end, so they will not go to fight, but there were some soldiers who forcefully take them to fight. Now, even after not wanting, soldiers have to go to fight towards Western Front. On the other hand, the war was about to end, so French soldiers were celebrating happiness, but German soldiers were constantly moving towards them with their entire army. They attack them in return. In return, French soldiers also attack them. There is a bombing from both sides, in which many German and French soldiers are killed. Pole starts fighting a French soldier in the trench, and both fall inside the bunker while fighting. Pole stands to fight, but then a French soldier from behind stabs in the back of Pole. Pole tries to breathe, and falls on the knees. At this moment, the order comes to stop the fighting, because at this time it was 11 o'clock, and there was a ceasefire. The French soldier standing in front of Pole just keeps looking at him. Pole somehow gets out of the bunker, and sees smoke rising into the sky, where a young French soldier is asked to collect the tags of dead soldiers. He comes across Pole, who by this time was dead. This soldier takes the scarf from Pole's hand, and wraps it around his neck. The movie ended with an announcement that more than 3 million people had died in the war between Germany and France.